And thank you so much for joining this program today. It promises to be insightful and it promises to be very much interesting. Lady Mercedes is really prepared for us today, so we are going to be learning a lot from her. So let's do well to mute ourselves. Please, let's not unmute ourselves. If you have any questions, you can do well to drop it on the chat, or you can actually raise your hand. That's during the question and answer section. And please, we are going to be sharing a survey. Do well to fill the survey so you have the opportunity to access the recording of this webinar and the slides as well. So when that survey goes out, try as much as possible to fill the survey and also try as much as possible to participate actively in this section. So I'm going to be handing over to Mary. We have Mary Umogbai as our moderator, and we have Lady Mercedes Ifon as our speaker for today. So I'm going to be handing over to Mary to continue the program. Mary, please, you can take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our RBS Leadership Development Program. Today's topic is Leading High Performance Team. My name is Mary Umogbai. I am a human resource professional, and it is my pleasure to moderate today's event, which brings top personalities from prestigious industries to Rome Business School so our community can hear and learn from them. Today, our special guest, Mrs. Mercedes Ifon, will be speaking to us on the topic Leading High Performing Team. But first, I am going to start with Lady Mercedes' brief info. Mercedes Ifon is also known as Lady Mercedes. Is a luminary in the human resource landscape, and she is armed with MBA in Human Resource Management and a prestigious and a distinguished professional, and a distinguished professional postgraduate qualifying diploma in managing consultancy practice and organizational transformation. As a alumna of the prestigious Lagos Business School and a distinguished member of the International Professional Managers Association in the United Kingdom, Lady Mercedes brings a wealth of academic knowledge to our professional endeavor. She is the founder of the esteemed Star Guide HR Consulting Limited. Lady Mercedes is more than a qualified, certified global HR professional. She is a strategic business partner and a catalyst for innovation. Her historic approaches addresses the contemporary issues faced by organizations, ranging from talent attraction to retention to achieving revenue goals, satisfying customers, and controlling expenses, all while steadfastly pursuing overarching businesses and profitability objectives. She also provides career counseling to over 200 professionals across Nigeria, Dubai, Ghana, and the United Kingdom. With an illustrious track record, Lady Mercedes has consistently elevated manager and employee performance, uplifted morale, and enhanced diversity, inclusion, and equity across sectors, including agriculture, logistics, aviation, travel and tours, consulting, and telecommunication. A strategic force in talent acquisition, compensation, workforce planning has yielded substantial success in aligning HR practices with organizational objectives. She takes pride in constructing HR departments from the ground up, ensuring seamless integration with organizational goals. She crafts policies, procedures, and orchestrates diverse HR activities such as employment, compensation, labor relations, benefits, training, and employee services. As an internal consultant, As an internal consultant, she plays a pivotal role in improving performance, identifying and solving problems, and providing strategic HRO initiatives that bolster people and organizational development. Lady Mercedes' influence in training, performance management, and employee engagement fosters an environment where HRO is a trusted resource, respected for its expertise, and sought after for consultation and support. A commitment to excellence exceeds beyond the professional realm, as she is a certified United Nations SDG advocate. Actively engaged in her community, she serves as a liaison officer at the Concept Workshop, contributing significantly to the eradication of rape culture in Nigeria through concept education, breaking the silence on sexual abuse, and promoting positive sex culture amongst youth. Our dedication reflects an unwavering commitment to helping individuals re recover from traumatic experiences and advancing towards a safer and more inclusive society. Wow, what a bio. Please, with a clapping ovation, feel free to use your emoji. Let's welcome Mrs. Mercedes Ifong as she speaks to us on the topic leading high performance team. I can't see the emojis. Please keep them coming. Thank you very much. Lady Mercedes, over to you, please.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on this call. Thank you so much, Fonodo. And I see you in the chat room. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope you can all hear me. And we pray that the network will be favorable today. So very quickly we dive into the agenda of today, and I'm sharing my screen. So this is going to be an interactive session. Feel free to drop your questions or comments in the chat room. Please ensure that, please confirm that you can see my screen so that we can start.
Yes, we can see
Mary,
your
could you
screen now.
please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Slide. Awesome. Thank you. So today, thank you for that introduction, Mary. So today we're talking about leading high performance teams. And we're going to be talking about effective leadership. Before you can lead a team, you have to be a leader, not just any kind of leader, but an effective leader, one that knows the way, one that goes the way. So we're going to look at effective leadership. We're going to look at effective teams, the characteristics of effective teams. We're going to look at the common problems or challenges encountered in teams, high-performing teams. We're also going to see some examples of teams that performed very well and boosted their company's revenue. They moved the company forward, and those that did not actually do that. So thank you. Mary already introduced myself. So who is a leader? Who is a leader? A leader is one that has vision, one that knows the way to go, one that knows the current situation of things, where the team is fully aware of where the team should be, and they know how to construct a roadmap. What does a leader do? The leader inspires, the leader influences, the leader guides others towards achieving this set goal, the common goal. So a leader must have rounded knowledge about the situation, about the circumstance, about the company, about the organization. You can't be a leader or an effective one and be in the dark. You need to know yourself first before you can lead a team, more so a high-performing team. So you must understand yourself. You must understand your role. You must know that you need to motivate others. You need to empower others. You need to have knowledge of human relations. So even though HR, you don't have to be a pro in HR, you need to know exactly how to lead people, because how to lead people, you cannot be an effective leader. You cannot be an influential leader. You need to be able to foster a positive high performing. That's the bottom line of the influences. A leader guides the team to where they're supposed to be. Even when the goalpost moves, a leader knows when to move. A leader takes risk. A leader is decisive. Traits of a leader, of an effective leader. Visionary. You must have vision. You must know where the company needs to go. You must get, because so you need to have the right path for them to follow. Without that, there is no leadership. Effective leadership. Communication. So it's not enough to know the way. You need to be able to communicate to people how to go the way. You need to communicate the challenges you might face. You need to be able to appraise people properly. You need to be able to commend you need to be able to motivate them to ensure that they keep their eyes on the ball. Keep their eyes on the objectives. Even when challenges come aboard, you need to be able to communicate properly. Integrity. Honesty is key in every sphere of life. You can't be an effective leader without integrity. There are times that you have to make those decisions must be made, and you must be honest about them. You must be true to yourself first, then you can be true to others. You know, those decisions you make even in your moment when you think nobody is watching. The things you do when no one is watching is actually what speaks to your integrity. When the waves and the challenges come, do you wave? Do you falter? Do you change to pressure? Do you bow to pressure? Or you maintain your stand, you maintain your ground, which is very, very important. Empathy. You can't lead without empathy. So it's not just about you being a major general, having the major general style. You have to have feelings. You need to feel, you need to know your role. Leadership is tough. You need to sometimes, but you need to lead with empathy. You might have a high performer that is suddenly not performing, is dropping the ball. Have empathy, talk to them. Inquire what's going on. Some might be dealing with things that is spilling into work. You need to talk. What demand results? You desire authentic, are you? Or are you the one that makes the environment toxic? You don't care how they are being spoken to as long as they get the job done. That is not a trait of an effective leader. Even when someone is not meeting up to their expectations, have empathy. Look at things from their angle. What exactly could be the issue? Sometimes they are confused. They don't know exactly what to do. They're not clear on instructions. Or like I said earlier, they're dealing with something outside. They're dealing with life. Life is dealing with them. So have empathy. But having empathy doesn't mean that the work suffers. You need to have a way of balancing it. You need to have a way of balancing things out. Now, decisiveness. You can't be a leader without taking decisions. You can't be a leader without taking even the hard decisions. It won't always be nice. It won't always be rosy. Time, assess risk. Run a risk assessment. What do we need now? What needs to be done right now? What's the next step to take? You need to be decisive. If not, it will be spotted, and then that's a death to your reputation. So a leader is
All right, ma.
visionary.
Hello, ma.
Yes, please.
All right. So we noticed the network from your network source has a bit of glitch, and which is affecting the audio. So we want to share the screen from here so you can have a good network bandwidth. So we'll start sharing from here, so it will be easier for you to have a good flow for the audio. All right, ma. So we have the screen share from here. Is it okay?
Yes, looks good to me. Would you like me to recap some particular slide?
No, I think we got that, but you can continue.
All right.
All right, thank
So
you.
like I said, traits of effectively the visionary, communication, these are the key ones that someone as a leader has to have. Okay, so now we go to leadership styles. Could you please go to the next slide? Okay, so here we have highlighted about 4 types of leadership styles. There are a whole lot out there, but we'll just focus on these because of time. So we have autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, servant leadership, and transformational leadership. And an autocratic leader doesn't take input from the team. When it comes to decision making, they just stand on their words. They do not seek input from the team. They just is hierarchical. So they are the leader, they take decisions, and that's it. No input. They are very strict over control. So while this is good sometimes, having this style of leadership every time is detrimental, because it now seems to your team like their input is not needed. Whatever they bring on board doesn't matter. So it's just you and you alone, but that's not how leaders should behave. The next one is servant leadership. These people prioritize well-being and development of the teams. They focus on empathy, humility, and servant-heartedness. They support individual growth, facilitate open communication, and empower team members to reach their full potential. While this is also good, it must be applied wisely. So having a servant leader makes the company have some kind of family culture. Have a family culture. So because they lead with empathy, they lead with humility, some subordinates could take advantage of it, but this is where culture building comes in. They need to know what is applicable and what is not. What traits are applicable in the system and what is not, what will not be tolerated, so that this leader will not be taken advantage of. Democratic leader. This involves team members in decision-making process. So they seek the input of team members. They like to make a ballot. Where do we go from here? How do we do things? How do we collaborate? This is good, but sometimes it could lead to slow decision-making process, because when everyone is not on the same page regarding a decision, there will be a drag. There will certainly be a drag. But the upside of this style is that it fosters empowerment. You know, there's an ownership mindset among the employees. I'm being listened to. I'm being heard. My voice is heard. My input matters. That's what democratic leadership brings on board. Transformational. These people inspire their team members. They're very, very inspiring. No matter what's going on in the boat, they know how to lift the spirits of their subordinates. So there's shared vision, they encourage innovation, foster a culture of continuous improvement. We need to get there. This is where we are going. We need to get there no matter the obstacle. They always inspire their subordinates. But something is very important. You must know where to apply which style. And that's called situational leadership. Know which situation to apply which style. So I don't see anyone here as bad. There's no bad style of leadership here, but just know where exactly to apply them. Now, what are high performing teams, characteristics of high performing teams. Okay, go ahead. The first is collaboration. Collaboration and innovation. This is what fuels high performing teams. When you see a team that is performing, there's a sync, there's energy among them, there's a strong spirit, there's a strong bond. They know what to do per time. Where there is no clarity, they talk to each other. So they all have eyes on the ball. No one is trying, there's no crowd mentality, or there's a little bit of it. So who the other, we're all in this. We contribute, brainstorm, they talk about ideas. And even at midnight, I got this, I wanted to just run it over you. Their collaboration. And leader, you need to ensure that your team, there's trust and comes from trans.
Apologies, everyone. We're so sorry for the break in network. She will join us shortly. Kindly bear with us, please.
The network is really, really bad. The network is really, really bad today. I have two devices with me, so please bear with us. Please bear with, it's really, really bad. I have two different devices and it doesn't seem to be working. Could you please reshare the slide?
Okay, ma'am. So you can continue sharing from your end.
From my end. Okay. All right, we're talking about trust and communication. So there can be no collaboration without trust and communication. When your team knows that they're in a psychologically safe place, where they're comfortable in expressing their ideas, their concerns, they will listen, they will collaborate, they
We are so sorry for this bad network. It's really beyond our control, but we're trying to get our right back up. Please bear with us. Once again, we're truly sorry for this break. The network is really bad. I'm sure it's the weather affecting the network, but we're trying to get her right back up. Um, but you can start dropping your questions in the chat box if you have any. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Sorry again for the break. The speaker is trying to join. For now, if you have any questions or any contributions, you can just drop it on the chat box, and at the end of the presentation, it will be taken. Thank you very much. Okay, so I see some comments in the chat box. I don't know. Just give me a minute, please. So I see Isaac Urinite. I I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You said some leaders always use divide and rule on their subordinates, that is using subordinates against their superiors. How should they handle themselves and handle their bosses? Well, I've currently not been in this situation, so I guess our speaker will be in the right position to answer this. For now, if there are any questions or any insight you would like to drop, please feel free to share with us. Thank you very much. Okay, so I see a question from.
Please, if you're not doing that, I encourage you to do that right now, to rename your devices and log in with your full name. Okay, so we're going to be sharing the recordings and the slide for this section to everyone. We encourage you to stay back and fill the attendance, because that is where we'll be getting your information from to share the slides and the recording. So please stay back and let's be a little bit more patient. We've put a call across to the speaker and she's trying to join in. And also, if you have questions, do well to join, to drop your questions at the comment. Okay, so Oluwa Nisola, you have a question. I'll be unmuting you now. Questions or contribution?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can clearly.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to ask a question in a little bit of a different context as we discuss the subject of leadership. And my question is stemming to the fact that leadership, to an extent, I believe is quite related or stems from, the kind of leadership perspective that is adopted by one, I think would depend to an extent on the personality type of the person. So I want us to draw a line as it relates to personality type. So in context, what I'm trying to say is that trying to give a little example now, if I'm someone that is quite like an introvert, oftentimes people try to cover up that kind of personality trait by being firm when it comes to leadership. I don't want to be taken for granted. So I think the way to just cover up that fact that I'm an introvert is to be authoritative, try and be authoritative. So how can leadership style be balanced in relation to when we are relating it to personality type? I don't know if the speaker has joined, and I don't know if my question is understood or if you get the context the picture I'm trying to paint.
Yes, I understand. I got the questions. You're asking how you can balance your leadership style with your personality, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
something of such, yes.
All right, that is duly noted. As soon as the speaker joins, we would direct it to her. If you have next question, if you have other questions, please drop it on the comments section. If you have contributions, please raise your hand and unmute yourself. Musa, your hand is up. Do you have a question or a contribution?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I just want to make a contribution. I think when you're talking about whether leadership is good or is lacking, I think the integrity of a leader also determines the style of his leadership. I think this is experience over time. His leadership style tends to be a scenario whereby the subordinate will always be at the defensive side. and then that will affect the productivity of the whole team. Yes, this is part of my contribution. Thank you very much. Over and out.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. The network is really not favorable today. We hope that it gets better because it's on like my presentations. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can. We
Yes,
can,
we can
please.
hear you, ma'am. Welcome back.
So sincere apologies. This is beyond my control, beyond my control. Sarah, thank you for holding the fort.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome.
So please, okay, can you please move very quickly whilst we still have this time? Would you like me to share from my end? I think you should do so that it doesn't affect the network.
All right, we can.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Good to be back. Thank you for keeping the room engaged, Sarah.
Okay,
and,
all right.
Shem.
All right, so while we're trying to set that up, there was a question from, I think, one of the participants. He was asking, or he wanted to know how he can balance his personality with leadership as an introvert. I think he was coming from that angle.
That angle. Okay. Hi, whoever asked that question. So I'm an introvert. So we don't like talking, don't like the spotlight, but when duty calls, you have to deliver. You have to deliver. One of the ways that I've been able to surmount that hold back is to tell myself that holding back does no one any good. Think about what you need to achieve. Think about the goal in front of you. Think about your team. You know, we don't like talking because it doesn't feel comfortable, but we have so much to give. So forget the fact that you're an introvert. In fact, you have an introvert power. I love the fact that I'm an introvert, but I focus on the goal. But what I eventually do is after interacting with people, I have my me time. I have time for myself where I go back and then I relax, I reflect, I make sure that I'm in touch with myself. But whenever you need to lead people, as an introvert, you might need to build yourself, build your confidence. Build your confidence, learn to talk to people. And the only way you can learn to talk to people is by speaking. So stop the analysis paralysis in your mind. What if they don't like me? What if it doesn't come out right? Speak, train yourself, attend trainings, rehearse. If you need to rehearse before meetings, do so. And then over time, you would see that you just flow. Sometimes you won't even need to actually prepare too much before you just speak. It's mind over matter. So as an introvert, you might think, what I'm saying might not make sense. Kill that voice in your mind, silence it, because you have so much to give. You have so much to do. As an introvert, you are very empathetic, you are very intuitive. So there are things that an introvert will pick up that an extrovert will miss. Leverage your strengths. That's the way that you can balance your personality and then your leadership role. There are lots of introvert leaders. Research them. I went on the I went online on the net some years back, and I was surprised to see how many leaders we have that are actually introverts, but we think they're extroverts. It's not about being loud. It's about the value that you give. So leverage your value, leverage your personality, and then just bless the world with the lights that you have. Keep your eyes on the goal. I see some suggestions in the room to switch off my video. Can I please do so? You will keep on being engaged. The network can let us know today. I hope I answered the question of whoever asked.
All right. Yes, you were able to. Thank you so much. So I don't know if your internet is stable now. If you can try sharing your screen, but having a bit of a challenge trying to do it from our end.
Oh. I'm sure. Can someone confirm that they can see my screen?
Anne, I can see that your hands are up. Do you have a question or a contribution? If you have a question, please drop it on the comment box. If you have a contribution, you can unmute yourself and make your contributions.
RBS, I think you're going to have to assist with sharing the slides. I think every time I try to share my slide, it goes off.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it? Is it up now on your end, though?
Yes, it is.
So I'll leave my video turned off so that it doesn't affect our flow.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you all for staying with us. Thank you so much. I see we have 311, almost 400 people in the room. Thank you for staying with us. So we're talking about characteristics of high-performing teams. We've spoken about collaboration and innovation, spoken about trust and communication. The next one we're speaking about now is clear vision and goals. Where are we going? Who are we? What do we want to do? What do we need to achieve? Where are we going? And how do we need to get there? So to have a high-performing team, there has to be well-defined goals and shared vision. It provides direction and alignment. People know what to do per time. They know what task is supposed to be carried out by which person. They know the timeline they need to achieve certain things. If the vision is not clear, then there'll be haphazardness. It will be very, very difficult to achieve the goals. The goalpost to keep moving, helter, left, right, front, center, because there is no clear vision. It's only when there's clear vision that you can know exactly how to plot the roadmap to how to achieve our goals. So when there's an understanding of what one needs to do, and then all your team members must know how it is tied to the bottom line, how their role actually helps the organization thrive. So no one must feel less important. If not, there becomes to be lethargy. So people just get relaxed. Well, I'm not very important. After all, it's team A that is seen as the best team. But they must understand that no matter the think they play, or no matter how small or big they think their role is, everyone is important. Everyone is important. Accountability. High-performing teams are accountable. They hold themselves accountable. They take ownership of their tasks. They take ownership of their responsibilities. If they drop the ball, they take ownership. So there is no blame game. Or even if there is a bit of it, that culture will not thrive. Like I said earlier, there is no crab mentality, or one that is actually at least containable. So people know exactly what to do per time. And then if they fail, if they succeed, they know the ball lies in their court. But again, this is linked to clear roles, clearly defined roles, clearly defined responsibilities, clearly defined performance expectations. We don't want to wait till appraisal period before we tell people you didn't do well. We don't want to wait till appraisal period before we tell people you're not hitting the mark. So you need to help your team members to be accountable by you, a leader, being accountable to them. That way, when they meet deadlines, they are being praised. When they don't meet deadlines, they are being reprimanded, or they are being encouraged to do so. Continuous learning and improvement. You can't have a high-performing team without a learning culture. When you stop learning, you start thinking. So there must be opportunities for skill development, knowledge sharing, professional growth. Some employees actually leave organizations because there is no growth for them. For someone like me, if I don't grow in my role or in a role within a year or two, I feel stagnated, and I just seek to leave. And high performance actually feel that way. They need to be stretched. How well are you utilizing the skills of your team members? How well do you even know them? Do you know their strengths? Do you know their weaknesses? How do you intend to build their skills? Have you identified the skill gap? And have you tried to build the bridge within your team? Because if your team is operating on the skills of yesterday, you're going to have dinosaurs, and dinosaurs extinct. So there has an improvement. Learn from successes, learn from your failures. Doing so will foster a culture of resilience, adaptability, and it helps team excel in a dynamic environment. Now, what are the strategies for fostering culture of collaboration and innovation? How do we foster this culture? Like we said earlier, without collaboration and innovation, there can't be high-performing teams. What should leaders do? Encourage open dialogue. Here it is again, communication. So your team members have to feel comfortable sharing their opinions, sharing their feedback. Don't make your team feel small. Don't feel like the smartest person in the room. It won't work. Foster a culture of active listening. When your team members speak to you, ensure you're listening to actually give them feedback, not being defensive, not just listening to respond, listen to understand. Remember empathy. Listen to the unsaid words. Watch out for non-verbal cues. Think about where they're coming from. Think about their perspective. They need to know that their voice matters. Promote cross-functional collaboration. So some people like to operate alone. You know, introverts like us, sometimes we like to walk alone, but break that down. Break that down. Ensure that there's collaboration among your team, if possible, amongst departments. You know, when people stay on a team for a very long time, they become a group think. They begin to think the same way, they begin to act the same way. But when you throw in collaboration from other departments, there's fresh ideas. You bounce things off each other. You guys have different perspectives. And then you utilize the diverse skill sets that your environment has. And doing this provides opportunities for interdisciplinary projects and task forces, and it helps one to tackle complex challenges and drive innovation. So by the time you have new ideas in your boat, new ideas in your team, it will strengthen your performance. It will strengthen your bonds. It will discourage isolation. I'm trying to move as fast as possible because we have lost some time. The next thing to do is recognize and reward. Recognize and reward. You know, when managers think of recognition and reward, they think money. But a simple thank you, a simple well done. There's a meeting, there's a team meeting, and then you recognize somebody, want to recognize Ade for the good work he did on that project. Can we give him a shout? We clap for him. And then, thank you so much, Ade, for your contribution. Or thank you, everyone. They feel loved. They feel appreciated. They feel seen. And then when people are celebrated, when people are acknowledged, they want to do more. It's human nature. They want to do more. You know, there's an extra layer of self-esteem that brings. Now, aside praises, you should actually create a reward system, incentivize, encourage people to do things tied to performance bonuses, tied to something that might not cost the company too much or might even cost a lot, because that's the value of what they bring, as long as it doesn't sink the organization and it is sustainable over time. Just ensure that your reward system is sustainable over time. Come rain, come shine, it's sustainable. Now, how do you create a supportive environment? You might feel my organization is not so supportive. What do we do? It still goes down to communication. It goes down to policies. It goes down to processes. It goes down to being able to actually understand people, empower them to experiment with new ideas, but you must put a cap on it so that they don't make mistakes here and there and then it sinks the organization. There must be limits, but encourage them to be innovative. Come up with your idea. We want to listen to you. We want to hear you talk. And then provide the resources for innovation. Let them have access to training and development programs, opportunities for experimentation. We said that before. Research what's going on in your industry, what's going on in our industry, what's going on in our sector. How can we take the lead? Are we lagging? Are we leading? Are we matching the industry? What are our employees saying about us? What are our clients saying about us? So by the time you get people to talk, people to air their minds, and then you actually act on their suggestions, you create a supportive environment. What you can also do is identify those team members that are bullish, that are overpowering, that tend to suppress the voices of other team members, of your colleagues. Address toxic behavior. Toxicity must not thrive. It cannot thrive in a high-performing environment. People will leave. People value their time. People value their space. People value their mental health. And you should prioritize that too for your team members, for yourself and your team. Ensure that there is no toxicity, or it's at the minimum. You can do this by having for those that still use suggestion boxes, we now have virtual ones online. Make sure that people have, there is an avenue for people to air their minds. Talk to them and make sure that people are not victimized. Okay, we're moving very quickly. Build trust through transparency. There can be no trust without transparency. People need to know what's going on. People need to know about the challenges, the setbacks. Involve your team. Don't be a fully autocratic leader. Listen to them. Get their input. We have a problem. Be honest with them. Okay, we have a problem right now and we need your help. We have a problem right now and I need you. We need each other. What can we do? So don't be the only one taking all the decisions, and don't be the one trying to divide by conquer, or conquer through division. There are some leaders that use the divide and conquer rule. No, do not do that. There are lots of organizations that actually do that, and those are toxic organizations, making sure that people have to hit their heads against each other so that there is disunity. A house divided against itself will not stand. All right, transparent leadership builds credibility and it strengthens the team cohesion. So before we go to overcoming common challenges in team leadership, I just want to be sure that you're still following me. I'm audible. There are no network hitches.
Yes, ma, you're audible. And no network.
Okay, thank you. So what are the in team leadership. Conflict is normal in every sphere of life. There can be no team without conflict. But what do you do when conflict arises? You listen actively, you find a common ground. Try not to take sides. What the first thing you should do is to cool the air. You need to separate two people. If there's an escalation, maybe there are raised voices, or keep them apart. But when, of course, you have around those things, fighting. So listen actively, mediate between them. What exactly is the problem? Make sure you can take their eyes back to the big picture, and then negotiate on how to promote understanding and reach mutually beneficial solutions. Don't forget that a team is made up of intercultural, people from diverse backgrounds. It's a mix. Even siblings from the same parents are different. So when conflict arises, ensure you listen, think critically, and do not take your eyes off the goal. The next one is managing change. How do you manage change? You communicate. Communicating during change management, because that leads to transparency. They know exactly what is happening per time. If the goalpost needs to move, they know. And ensure that resources are given to the team to help them manage the change. Some need coaching, some need mentorship, some need counseling, some need an assurance. So when there is a change, an ongoing change in the organization, please open to your team as much as you can. I know that there are times that there's some information that can't go out except on need-to-know basis. You should know how to manage that as well. Once it's not confidential, please manage your team properly. Speak to them. Encourage them. This is where your transformational leadership style comes in. Motivation and engagement. There can be no high-performing team without motivation and engagement. If everyone is not in the boat, you won't have a high-performing team. Also, remote work is a challenge. I mean, we're having this meeting remotely, and then network is a challenge. It seems to be a challenge. So you're going to have, if you have remote teams, or you have teams that work hybrid, some on-site and some off-site, you need to ensure that your communication protocols are on point. Work expectations are very clear. And then you have tools for engagement. Sometimes the remote teams feel left out, they are not on site, so they feel left out. Ensure that you also recognize them. Recognize their input, seek their input, be aware of their location in case you have a cross-border force. So if you fix events at a certain time, think about your remote team. How do they engage? If you're having an meeting, they should be part of that meeting. Make it a hybrid meeting so they can also enjoy the culture and the camaraderie of your team. The next one is building resilience. Things will not always go smoothly. It's not a bed of roses. But what can we do? We develop resilience. We develop strength from failures. Failure is inevitable. Sometimes. You all want to succeed, but sometimes we succeed after learning from failure most of the time. So how do you build resilience? Provide to team members. Think about coping mechanisms. How do they thrive in adversity? Ask them, what do you need? How do you get to cope with failure? Talk to them and let them talk back to you. Don't be an island as a leader. Don't be an island. Then how do you leverage technology to enhance your team This is important. You need to know where you are. You need to know the resources available, the resources that you need, and if the resources available will really lead you to your goal. Automate your workflow and optimization. Make sure you use technology as much as possible so you can free up time. The time that you use for the admin tasks and development. Here we are again, I said it before. So look out for online courses, webinars, workshops that your team can enjoy. It could be on-site, it could be off-site. So if you have virtual teams, they attend virtual workshops or they attend the hybrid meetings. So goal setting and performance. Sarah, do we take questions at the end of the meeting or in between? So I'm wondering if some people have questions.
And we can take at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going too fast. I know we've lost some time, so I'm being very, very conscious of that.
It's fine. The pace is fine.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So goal setting and performance management. How do you do this as a leader? We all know SMART, the acronym SMART. So the goals must be specific. It must be measurable. Don't give unrealistic goals. Goals that you yourself can't meet. You're cascading to your team. It won't work. Ensure that the goals are specific. They are measurable. They are achievable. And then look at the circumstances around those goals. Ensure that those goals are relevant to your objective and time bound. So don't just leave objectives open. Make sure that they are time bound. Make sure that there has to be a deadline for submission. There has to be a deadline of completion. Also, your key performance indicators. Ensure that the metrics track what matters. They help reflect on your team's performance and provide insight into the areas for improvement. Have regular progress reviews. As a leader, you can't be an island. Talk to your team. Have weekly meetings. Talk to them formally and informally. Have regular progress reviews. Where are we now? Where are we lacking? How do we stay on track? What do we need to do? Also, when you're setting goals and managing performance, you have to make provision for course correction. So if things change, if strategies change, your team needs to be involved. They need to be aware. They need to know what's new, what's the latest we're handling, what's the latest information. And of course, you have to celebrate achievements. Celebrate your milestones, celebrate your wins, big, small, celebrate them. You've earned it. Now, we're racing towards the end of the presentation, and then we have two companies that successfully provided team leadership. The first one is Google Project Aristotle. So many people want to work with Google. So there is a project Aristotle that was launched to uncover the secrets behind effective team performance at Google. And here's what they found out. They found out that high-performing teams thrive because of psychological safety. Team members felt safe to take risk. They really feel safe to share ideas. They can express themselves without fear of judgment or victimization. So if your workplace or if your team, your department is not a psychologically safe place, you can't have a high-performing team. There are clear goals, clear, meaningful goals. They always have an impact on performance. If people know what to do per time, if people are very well aligned with the company's goals, they will perform. Alignment means that they have the right skill. Alignment means that they have the right attitude. Alignment means that they have the right training for them to achieve their goals. And then dependability. No man is an island. They foster trust. there's trust, there's transparency. They have confidence in themselves. So when one is down, the other lifts one up, the other person lifts him up or her up. It leads to smoother collaboration, it leads to higher productivity. So to have a high performing team, ensure that your workspace is psychologically safe. Being psychologically safe doesn't mean that you tolerate just anything. So there should be boundaries. Ensure that there are clear goals. Ensure that there is high dependency within your team. Try to eliminate key man risk. So when one person does everything, or when one person does the bulk of the work, then there is no dependability. There is no flexibility. The quality of work will suffer. The next company is Netflix. Everyone talks about Netflix's culture of freedom and responsibility. It's a very, very about Netflix. So what were the principles behind this? What are the principles behind their culture? Candid feedback. We can see that the theme of leadership is communication, candid feedback. The employees are free to express themselves. They give honest feedback to their peers, feedback to their leaders, to be themselves, their good selves. They're not afraid to be their good selves. So there's communication, there are channels for honest communication, open communication. Where do we miss the mark? How do we recover from it? People talk. And then transparency. This is not very, very popular in some organizations. But transparency is key to success. There is no two ways about it. Keeping everyone informed, keeping everyone aligned. That's how Netflix ensures that their team collaborates effectively. Focus on high performance. It drives performance, it drives innovation, it drives creativity, it drives a lot of things. It's just your culture. So people there's no lackadaisicality there. High performance culture. Organizing leadership. These leaders failed to actually lead properly, if I can put it that way. They failed to lead properly. And it was considered one of the largest energy companies in the world until 2021 when it collapsed. What happened? Fraud, corporate misconduct. Remember what you said about integrity. That's the key ingredient. That's the for an effective leader. So he fostered the trust and lack of ethical leadership and transparency led to a role divide and structure there. It also led to breakdown with investors, stakeholders, and of course, that led to the company's downfall. Another one is Theranos. When the news of very interesting. What was so was that it was a testing like the
Hi, Lady Mercedes. Can you still hear us? Please hold on. The network just took our speaker out. We're trying to put the call across to her to find out the glitch. Please hold on. Let's be patient. Okay. So I can see so many questions on leadership and leadership style and how to blend your leadership style to suit those that you're leading. I've seen a lot of questions on that. While we're waiting for our speakers, I also want to use this medium to remind us that the coaching program is currently on, and we have coaches to address that in full depth. So if you have not registered for the coaching program, I encourage you to. We are having coaching sections in leadership, in management, in communication and public speaking. If leadership management is something that you're really, really interested in, I encourage you to register. I'm speaking to current students now, not the April 2024 intake. If you have seen a communication or received any communication from the Career Service Department, please go back to it and register. For the October 2022 intake, your coaching section has started for some programs. So if you have not registered and you're part of the people that are dropping questions on leadership, management, and personality, you may want to go back to that email and register. Attendance will be coming right up, Victor. I can see your message. All right.
Thank you for muting me. So I'm back now. The network is quite funny today. So in summary, we've learned quite a number today. So I believe you're going to receive the slides so that you can go over them yourself. So strong leadership is pivotal to driving team success. We've spoken about clear communication, collaboration, continuous learning. Those are foundational elements, and leaders must prioritize them to foster high-performance teams. By doing so, as a leader, you can create an environment where team members feel empowered, they feel motivated, and they feel supported. So what should we do from today? What's the key takeaway as leaders? We need to reflect. on our actions. We need to reflect on our leadership styles. We need to reflect on our practices. Are our actions actually leading our team to success, or are they leading them towards failure? What kind of leadership style do you have? What kind of team do you have? And how do you plan to strengthen the bond in your team? Do you plan to be more open during communication? Do you plan to be more open to feedback? As a leader, have you requested feedback from your team members before? You need to do that, but you need to be sure that you will not be vindictive. Because you can't think that you're right all the time as a leader. And your subordinates will tell you if you're right, if they feel you're right or wrong when it comes to the human aspect of relations. Now, subordinates might not always understand the big picture or the reason for your action, but ensure that you're doing it because of the common good. And in time, you will understand. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for staying till the end, despite the challenges that we had during the session. I remain Lady Mercedes Ifon. Thank you. I'm open to questions now.
Thank you so much, Lady Mercedes. And thank you for not giving up on us despite the network glitches here and there. So if you have any question, can you please use your reaction button? If you have any question for a speaker, can we use the reaction button? Thank you. Although I have some questions here from the chat box. So this question is from Franklin Aga. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If not, please pardon me. He's asking, how do you deal with a boss who is very poor in communication? Lady Mercedes, please. Did you get my question, or should I go over it?
Yes, the person was asking.
Yes, he's asking, how do you deal with a boss who is poor in communication? Okay, I think we've lost her again due to network. All right, Ethini, I see your hand raised up, so I'll just unmute you now so you can ask your question.
Thank you. Right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I proceed?
Okay. Okay, yes. So how do you deal with a manager that doesn't know how to communicate? You need to understand your manager. Some people are of few words. So what you need to do is learn. You need to understand your manager first, and then you can now learn the best way they like to be communicated. So if your manager is not communicating deadlines or requirements, approach them and ask them. Ask them, what do you think is the best way to reach you? What reach you? How to you? Is there something you would like us to talk about? Talk to them, ask them. That All you can do is go to WhatsApp, follow.
I'm sure it's the network there again. Once again, we're very, very sorry. So, Mr. Etim, I'm going to unmute you now so I can take note of your question. As soon as we get the speaker back up, you will answer it.
All right,
Mr.
can I
Etim,
proceed?
please ask your
Yeah,
question. Yes, sir, you can.
okay. I have worked with a renowned industrial relations to crisis management expert who is of the school of thought that the ideal leadership style is that which adopts 95% democratic and 5% autocratic leadership style. And having been a renowned personality, I tend to believe that assertion. So how true? My question is, how true is that school of thought and the assertion when it comes to best leadership style?
Okay, so can I put that question? Sarah.
I should repeat.
No, I heard that you belong to a school of thought or someone that you respect says that the best leadership style is 95%.
95%
95%.
democratic and 5% autocratic leadership style.
Yes.
How true is that?
Okay, so that still speaks to me as it could be true in certain situations. It all depends. That's why there is situational leadership. It depends on the situation. It depends on who you're dealing with. So there has to be an element of all four styles. Democratic, transformational, autocratic. There are times that you have to put your feet down and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we need right now. There are times that you open it for dialogue or communication. So if your team is that which is the drag, let's say you have a team that drags. If you're democratic 95%, you will not achieve your goal because you always want to dialogue. You always want to open a topic for just for decision making. We need to collaborate. We need to talk about this every time, but they drag. But if you're with go-getters, you can say, okay, let's take a decision right now, and then it's easy to take a decision. But you have to know who you're dealing with. That's why it's situational. You can't do 95% all the time. I beg to disagree. There could be 60%. It could be 40% autocratic, it could be 5% autocratic, it could be 10%, depending on who you're relating with and what you are dealing with.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my take.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much.
And I see
Thank you very much for your question. Mr. Alex, I can see your hands up, so I'm just going to unmute you now so you can ask our speaker your question.
All right, thank you so much. So I work on a project that is in partnership with the government, and I noticed I'm always struggling to get government partners to do what they agree to do. I'm a team lead on a project that is trying to work as a counterpart partner with the government. Government is putting in their end, and the project is also putting in their end. But I lead the two teams there. I don't know, probably you've had significant experience working with government partners. What would be the best way to get government to do what they are doing? Thank you.
Okay, I struggled to hear you. Perhaps network is also very bad at your end, but I heard government. Or Sarah, can you please help me if you heard better?
No, I didn't. No.
No, I didn't. I really struggled to hear him too. Mr. Alex, please, can you
Type it.
just come again with your question or put it in the chat box and it will be taken.
Okay, while we're waiting for Mr. Alex, I think that there are some persons that are in their offices, but because of privacy, they are unable to ask questions, but their questions are very important and they're on the comment section. One of them I would like to ask Lady Mercedes is someone that said, I have experienced in my workplace that some persons are usually preferred to the others and are seen to be more superior. How do we handle such? Another person asked a similar question to that, and I'm just going to blend both together. The person is asking, if you have a boss that hardly sees anything good in you or give you opportunity to grow, how do you manage this?
Okay, so I'm going to start from the first question. Favoritism is a thing, it happens, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So what do you do if you happen not to be the favorite one? And even if you're the favored one, focus on your focus. And what does that mean? That means that you must know how to do your job excellently well. The next thing is for you to have a sponsor. So we talk about sponsors and we talk about mentors in the workplace. Identify a voice that cannot be silenced. Identify someone that has influence, and then you can now parley with them in quote. Now, you're not going to be using them. You're just going to be visible to them. Talk about your contributions. Talk about yourself. Talk about what you can do to make sure the organization stays afloat. Be visible. When you are visible for your value, what you bring to the table, everyone will see and will know if you're being passed over for an opportunity. It will be quite difficult to be passed over because everyone knows the value you bring. And then if it happens that that person is on your team, so something happens and the person misbehaves, and then you want to reprimand the person and then you're being stopped. No, 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 untouchable. There are people like that. Ensure that you recognize the powers that be. This is not about titles. And we're talking office politics here. There are people that have influence. Recognize the influence they carry. Recognize who they can influence. And then learn how to navigate around that. Ensure that whatever behavior or whatever attitude you see that is unpalatable is documented. You might not document everything, but ensure that you communicate what's right. You know what you're doing. I saw a quote somewhere on Monday, I think from AEHRP. Do not arm your opponent with underperformance. You can't talk about favoritism if you're not delivering. So people might not like you, they might not agree with you, but they will not be able to talk about your competence. They will not be able to dispute your competence. So if you're the favored one or you're not the favored one, focus on your competence. Do your job well. Find a sponsor. Don't be an island. Don't be an island, because that way you won't get favored at all. Talk to people, talk to someone that can help you advance in the workplace. And if you don't have that in your space, you know what to do. Plan your exit strategy. Your mental health is very important, but don't leave your job abruptly, except of course, the impacts of mental health. Then the second one, Sarah, please could you remind me?
All right, so the student is asking, how do you handle if you have a boss that hardly sees anything good in you or give you opportunity to grow, how can you handle it?
Okay, so in that situation, that's something you can hardly change. I've had bosses like that. So what I did was I have people I vent to outside work. So no matter for me, no matter how hard I tried, I was never good enough for this person. I was never good enough for this person. And everybody saw it as a witch hunt. But what did I do? I wasn't going back home crying every day. You will cry sometimes, yes, but I wasn't crying every day. I focused on my career. Where do I want to be? Where am I going? I focused on the big picture. And what did I do? I learned. I got another degree. I'm on my second master's, my second MBA right now. I learned. I carved my own career path. I thought to myself, what kind of place do I really want to work in? What kind of leader do I want to be in future? And how do I get there? I developed myself and better opportunities came my way. So in that space, talk to people outside your office. Don't go venting to your colleagues. Please don't, because they will go back to that same boss. Talk to people outside your space. Have mentors that can tell you the truth. I make mistakes sometimes. We all do. But have people that can tell you, no, you were wrong, no, you were right. Oh, don't worry, no, it's just which one said it's not you, it's them. And what you can do, pray for them. It works. Pray for their peace. It works. Not today, but sometime in the future. Okay. Any other questions? How
Yes,
about
ma'am.
Someone said, how
We
about
have a
AP?
lot of questions.
Okay.
So regarding our last speaker who we couldn't hear clearly due to network issues, so he dropped his question in the chat room. He's asking, how do you get government to do what they agreed to do? He works with the government, so he wants to know how he gets the government to do what they agreed to do.
Wow, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. You just have to follow the policies and processes being put in place. I mean, don't we all have that problem? I don't think anyone is free from that. The government is not doing what they're supposed to do, even to all citizens. But follow the policies in your organization. You just have to do what you have to do. There are some powers, some things that are beyond your control. But what you can do is ensure that you follow the processes, you follow the procedures, ensure that you dot your I's and you cross your T's. Talk to the people that the government listen to, the inner caucus, the inner circles. You can talk to them, leverage your relationships as well. That will help.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. I'm going to take two similar questions together.
Okay.
So a student is asking, how do one draw a line between personality and leadership? And another student asks, how do you align leadership with being a perfectionist?
Okay, so on drawing a line between personality and leadership, I want to think, or I'm thinking that the person is asking about setting boundaries, because I answered the question earlier on the person that asked about being an introvert and how we can manage it with leadership. So I wonder if that's the same question. But I'll just reiterate what I said earlier in case some people were not in the room at that time. So at that time, person said that they're an introvert. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. In fact, it's to your advantage. I am an introvert. I am an introvert to the core. I enjoy talking, I enjoy teaching, yes, but I have my me time. So as introverts, or if you're an extrovert, you're quite, sometimes it can be overwhelming for some people. Draw the line. Know what is obtainable in your organization, how you should act, what's your professional conduct, how should you act, how should you talk, what's required of you, irrespective of if you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, or you're an ambivert. What does your position require you to do? That's the only way you can balance it out. And also read books. For introverts, practice talking, practice presentation, offer to present. You can even start by talking in meetings. So there are lots of we have meetings every week. How often do you speak in the meeting? That's really go a long way. If you're an extrovert, you can try to tone down a bit of the loud. Read the room. Try to read people's emotions. Try to read what's going on at that point in time. That's the way you can balance your personality and leadership. Just know what's expected of you and how you can deliver. And now the second question asked something, please. Can you please remind me? Second question.
The second question, it says, how do you align leadership with being a perfectionist?
Perfectionism does no one any good, even you the perfectionist. So what you need to do is stop overanalyzing everything. Stop overanalyzing everything. And it also happens to we introverts. We love it to be perfect. We love things to be done in a certain way. If you're overbearing, if you micromanage your team, you won't get the best out of them. Give people room to express themselves. Give people room to make mistakes, not damaging ones. Minimal mistakes. See, suppress the urge to always correct somebody every single time. So you can correct through verbal and non-verbal ways. Yes. But if someone is underperformed, of course, you now have to micromanage them until they grow. But if you're a perfectionist, you're going to have to do the work alone because no one's going to want to work with you. Tone it down. You have people around you for a reason. Leverage on their strengths, build their weaknesses, and leave perfectionism alone. Leave it alone. I've had to leave mine alone. I was once a perfectionist, or maybe I still am, but I'm getting better at it. So if you're waiting for the right time to take a move, stop it. There's always room for improvement. If you think I'm not practicing my lines well, I need to do more. Practice, but don't dwell too much on things. You won't grow. You won't grow and have a growth mindset. That's the way you can balance it out from my point of view. Okay, more questions, please. All yours for
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Abubakar, I can see your hands raised up. So I'm going to unmute you now so you can ask the question. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Mercedes, you have really lightened up my day. My question actually has to do with, as a leader, how do you deal with team members that are incorrigible, the black sheep in the team? How do you handle such people? Thank you very much. I enjoyed your lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the compliment. So as a leader, how do you handle the black sheep? Carrot and stick. Carrot and stick. So they need to know what is unacceptable. First, they might not know. Second, they might know, but they are pushing their bounds. So you need to always correct them. Most times inside, and sometimes you call them out nicely. You call out the action nicely. How do you call it out nicely? Refer to it, oh, this was done, and we all know that this is unacceptable. Please, can we behave better next time? Have you tried having a one-on-one conversation with this person to find out why their attitude is off? Have a conversation with them. Tell them exactly what they are doing wrong. They might not know, or they might know, but they're just throwing tantrums. Know what children do. And sometimes some people just have a stinky attitude. So what kind of culture do you have in your organization? If you have a place that encourages these flaws, there'll be hardly anything you can do. Have you tried speaking to HR? Have you tried making a formal report? And sometimes for these black sheep, these people that behave the way they like, they do things the first time, the second time, the third time, and then there's no correction, so they're used to it. There's been no reprimanding. There's been no feedback, no negative feedback on their action. So talk to them. Tell them what's expected of them. Tie it to performance. So when you are praising people, there should be the technical part and then the behavioral side. If they score very high in technical performance, they should score low in behavioral. It's part of it. It's part of competence on the job. So people should not feel, oh, I'm a high performer. I have my competence level technically is high. Your competence level behaviorally should also be high because there is a culture in the workplace that you need to preserve. The behavior that you don't correct becomes the bane of the day, the order of the day. So they need to know that there are consequences to their actions and then apply those consequences. As a leader, you need to apply those consequences. So they will throw tantrums, but apply the punishments. They need to know that there are consequences. But please make sure that you're not witch hunting them. They don't feel witch hunted. At least let's start from there.
Thank you very much, Ma, for your answer.
Thank you.
So due to time constraints, we're going to be taking just one more question. And after that, we call it a wrap. Mr. Iyanu Olua, I'm going to unmute you now so you can ask your questions. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening. All right. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
All right.
please.
Okay, thank you very much for today's lecture, Miss Lady Mercedes. My question is quite simple, I guess. So when you were talking about the Google Project Aristotle, you talked about encouraging a psychological or psychologically safe space or environment. How do you ensure psychological safety?
Okay. So it starts with communication. Communication. How vulnerable are you as a leader? That's important. So when you share your vulnerable moments with your subordinates, the ones that you can share, not the ones that are very, very personal. It could be relating to a project, it could be relating to anything. They see that you are open to them. They can talk. When you receive feedback, when they give you feedback, how do you take it? How do you respond? Are you vindictive? That's not a psychological safe place. It's not. So a safe place is where people feel they can talk, they'll be listened to. And even if they don't say the right things, they'll be corrected with love. They'll be set on the right path, but they will not be victimized. That's the underlying goal. They will not be victimized. So the one way you can do so, if you're wondering if you have a psychologically safe workplace, run surveys. Ask them, what do you love about our team? What would you like me to know as a leader? You can make it anonymous so they can talk. And make sure it's anonymous, please. It's actually anonymous. Have them to give you feedback anonymously. Start from there. And then you analyze the results with them. Oh, this is what was said. You explain things to them. Sometimes you explain the reason why you have to take certain decisions. Not all the time anyway. But let them know that they can talk. They can approach you when you are available. They can actually voice their minds. I don't like the path we took regarding this project. What about doing things a different way? Or are we going to go with the way it's always been done? When they make suggestions, listen. Even if you're going to say no, listen and thank them for contributing. Thank them for voicing out and encourage them to do so again. That's how you start. That's how you start. All right.
Thank you
you.
very much, Lady Mercedes. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for your time. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for your effort. Though
Thank
the
you.
network was big and forth, we really appreciate you. However, I would like a few words of encouragement from you, Mrs. Mercedes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been an honor talking to you, everyone on this call. And I must thank you. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for staying. So please, let's go back and be better managers. The resources, the learnings, the knowledge you get from Rome Business School, apply them. It's not just about having a degree, a master's degree, or whatever degree you're pursuing. Make sure that you actually apply them, imbibe the culture that you're being given, you're being exposed to at Rome Business. Leverage your relationship, talk to your peers, look out for sponsors, look out for mentors. At your workplace, talk to sponsors. Be visible, be visible at your workplace. You cannot succeed, you cannot advance without being visible. How are you visible? Talk during meetings. It doesn't matter if you feel I might not be saying something that makes sense. You are actually making sense. Talk. Make sure that you talk about your projects, talk about what the challenges that you surmount. Don't assume that your line manager knows. He or she doesn't know. You told them yesterday doesn't mean that they still remember it today. Talk about how you'll be able to surmount challenges for the organization. Talk about the value that you bring to the organization. And also think about the kind of leader you want to be. You see those bad examples that we encountered? I personally learned from them, and I told myself, I will not be a toxic leader. I'm an advocate for a psychologically safe workplace. It doesn't mean that we take anything that's acceptable. No, it's not. It's not. We set boundaries, but we try to reduce toxicity to the bare minimum. Don't be a toxic leader. And I just hope that, and I pray that you excel in your career, you excel in your business, and everything that your hand touches. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Mercedes. Thank you very much for this insightful session. I really, really learned a lot.
Thank you. I did as well. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for joining this session. And I want to believe everyone has learned a lot and we are ready to put all what we've learned into practice. I will be handing over right now to Mr. Idowu Adeleke to address every one of us. Mr. Idowu, please.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Idowu Adeleke. I'm a key account manager in the admissions department of Rome Business School. Okay, so our sincere appreciation to Lead Mercedes for not giving up on the network and for staying put, trying to reconnect and then get the section going. Also to our moderator, Miss Mary. It was a wonderful duty you did there. Yes, thank you for holding the feet down. Yes, so I'm just here to encourage our prospects that are on this section. So if you're yet to come on board for the different master's programs that we have here at Rome Business School, this is the right time. This is the appropriate time. Take advantage of the offers that the school is giving you. Reach out to your admission advisor after now to continue with the admission process to enable you to come on board for the different master's program. Here at Rome Business School, we promise you of a wonderful time during your one-year master's program. And these are just value-added benefits. You getting insights from webinars like this gives you an edge in the markets. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying put. Do have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Idowu. On behalf of our country director, Humphrey Akanazu, our Dean, Professor Ragusa. We want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us, from staying with us all through the session. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to having more exciting sections with you. Good night. Bye.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining, and you can actually follow Lady Mercedes on LinkedIn. She's there as Lady Mercedes Ifon, and for Mary, you can follow her on LinkedIn as well as Mary Umogbai. And please do well to fill the attendance. I've already sent it several times, so you can do well to fill it to be able to access the slide and the recording for this section. And thank you so much for joining once again.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.